Hello everyone, and welcome to another Fallout 76 lore video. Today, we're going to take a look at what I think is one of the more intriguing, smaller factions of pre-Reclamation Day Appalachia, the Sons of Dane. Most of us know the Sons of Dane because of the One Violent Night event. Every so often, we hear this radio broadcast come across the Pip-Boy.
An unknown dangerous creature has been sighted in the vicinity of the Sons of Dane compound. This thing's been attacking the Buck's Den beer house every night while we party. We call it the Night Stalker. It's killed some of our best guys. Paulie says the loud music is what's pissing it off, so we can make a ruckus to draw it here and set up an ambush. Hell, if some beast's gonna put it into our good time. So we're fixing on blasting the jukebox and jamming on instruments loud as we can. Even rigged up some old busted instruments to shake around. Beat on some of them ferals we caught. That all should make a proper ruckus. Something about all them particular sounds seems to send that son of a bitch into a blind rage. Any good hunters out there want to stop by and help us kill the Night Stalker tonight? You'll be rewarded in all the beer and partying you can handle. Message is set to repeat.
The event itself is pretty straightforward. We need to make lots of noise to attract a creature called the Night Stalker, all in the hopes of killing it. While we make all that noise, of course, other creatures, namely ghouls, come flooding into the beer hall as well. Everyone gathered there needs to do their best to clear out the ghouls while still making continuous noise. Eventually, the lights flicker and we hear the roar of the Night Stalker, which is a glowing Wendigo. After killing it, we get some event rewards and find that the area is now mostly safe to explore. Let's look around and find out a little more about the backstory behind this event and the people who used to call this place home. One of the first places we want to explore is a mostly intact house on the western end of the compound. We see a rusted out truck outside. We already walked up some ramps that are going around the building. We can see a petrified corpse there. So clearly there was a scorch beast attack at some point. And you can tell some people used to hang out here and drink on the porch. When you go inside, we've got another petrified corpse. Sometimes when you look around in here, you will find ghouls as well. We may see some of those. And looks like there's stairs going downstairs as well as upstairs. There's a few things to loot. Nothing too terribly exciting here. And there is one of the ghouls wandering up from downstairs. And let's see, let's finish clearing this out. And then let's go ahead and head down to the basement and see what we can find here. So we've got a kind of sealed off room. We've got a couple of chemistry benches. So maybe there was some nefarious manufacturing of illicit substances going on here at one point. If we want to get past the security gate, we'll have to break through a skill level 3 lock. Shouldn't be too difficult to handle. We'll go ahead and get in here. And there we go. Let's take a peek and see what's in here. This looks like maybe we've got a cryo mine. We've got some ammo canisters. So this looks like maybe it was some kind of armory at one point. Doesn't look like there's much left over though. And a plan for a Gatling laser mod. And so yeah, not a ton going on down here. But clearly at some point this was an armory for whoever was living down here, as well as some kind of chem lab. We'll make our way upstairs and have a look around. We've got another ghoul to take care of. And based on the condition of the furniture, it's probably been a while since anyone lived here. We've got a skeleton in the bathroom. And if we remove the Abraxo cleaner, we see 2 blocks spelling out PU. So clearly someone was stinking the place up at some point. Especially with the skeleton on the floor, perhaps they were stinking it up quite a lot. Looking around, we see a little more loot, nothing too interesting, but we also see Dane Rogers' terminal on a desk. Dane Rogers is the voice from the broadcast from the One Violent Night event. We can hack into this terminal with a skill level of 2. Let's go ahead and do that and see what he left for us. Once we're in, we see a few entries: Sons of Dane Communications, Dane's Journal, and Remote Door Control. We'll start off with the Sons of Dane Communications. Subject: the beginning. Brothers, I want to welcome you all to the beginning of our very important movement. A movement that will lead us to being truly free from the oppressive grip of a government that is no longer on the side of the people. Clarksburg taught us a valuable lesson. No longer can we sit complacent and wait for armed men to break us apart, seize our land, or murder our ranks in cold blood. The Sons of Dane recognize no government that continues to drive our great nation into the abyss, and will fight to the death for what is rightfully ours. This compound represents more than the land it sits upon. It represents freedom. It represents opportunity. And after the inevitable collapse of organized society as we know it, it will represent the future. Join me tonight at the Buck's Den, brothers. Join me for an evening of food, entertainment, debauchery, and drunken revelry. Join me to celebrate a day of glorious rebirth as the sovereign citizens of the Sons of Dane. Supplies. From Paulie to Dane. Dane, we just took inventory of the supplies we got from the gentleman who generously donated his land to the cause. We got plenty of water, but we're going to need a lot more food if we're going to survive in the bunkers for any meaningful amount of time. And a shitload more booze if we're going to do it without killing each other. Our journey to self-sufficiency starts today. Weaker men would stock up at the Red Rocket Mega Stop down the road, but we are not weak men. I'll see you in the hunting grounds, brother. Next is a short email chain between someone named Clem and Dane Rogers. From Clem to Dane, how long? Boss, Jackson said we was going to be crammed together in the same bunker when the bombs hit until it's safe to go outside. What? Can't I just stay out here? I won't mess with nothing while you guys are gone. From Dane to Clem. Brother, you are a free man like the rest of us, so you can do what you'd like. But if you fuck with the compound while we're gone, I'll kill you myself. From Dane, a new start. Brothers, I welcome you to the new world, a world free of a government that works against the people. We went underground as slaves and have now emerged as free men. We have much to do. We have food, water, and now even power, but we must focus on more than survival. We must thrive in this new world. We have been given an opportunity to be the men we were truly meant to be. This will mean hard work for everybody, but nothing great in life ever comes without true dedication. Tonight we celebrate in the Buck's Den. To the future. While there are no dates on these entries, this one sounds like it was written after the bombs fell, perhaps long after, as it sounds like the Sons of Dane were living in bunkers for a while. Rogers indicates that these separatists are finally free of what they viewed as an oppressive government. They view the apocalypse as a fresh start for themselves and society. And now, with another email from Clem to Dane, we learn about what could be the first sightings of the Night Stalker. Subject: guard duty. Boss, listen, you know I'm a loyal soldier. I've been with the Sun since the beginning, and I've done everything you said with no complaining. And I'm real grateful that you saved all our lives and all that by getting us underground when the bombs hit. I know I done brought this up 3 times now, but can I please switch away from the night shift guard post at the West Gate? I'll do whatever it takes. It's just that I swear there's something out here at night. Something out to get me. It's real fast and makes these crazy noises. Every morning I see these animal corpses, completely gutted like something's eating them raw. Ain't no hunter or bear gonna jack them up that bad. I told Vern and he said I was just making this up so I can party at the Buck's Den with everybody else at night. That's bullshit. There's something out there and nobody believes me. Surviving for so long underground won't mean shit if we all get eaten by some crazy night demon. So now we know that it didn't take long for the post-apocalyptic world to start coming after the Sons of Dane. Now we can read Dane's journal, with the first entry being First Dead. We were partying in Buck's Den beer hall when the thing busted its way inside. It was late, real late. The lights were low and most of us had passed out. It grabbed Jackson by the leg and swung him against the wall, smashing his brains out before he even had a chance to shout. I swear I put 6 bullets in the thing, but it didn't drop. By the time we got the lights back, Jackson's body and the creature were gone. All that was left was a pool of blood. Now Vern's gone. It's been a while since what happened to Jackson. A week, maybe 10 days. We heard scraping on the barn wall and we knew the thing was out there, hungry. Paulie yelled at Vern to cut off the damn music, but Vern wasn't there no more. The creature pulled his dumb ass right through a window. We readied our guns, but Vern must have been enough. It's picking us off one by one. Cold trail. I decided enough is enough. We need to track that son of a bitch down and end it before we all ended up like Jackson and Vern. Angie is the best damn tracker in Appalachia, and it didn't take long to spot the creature's path. We followed the tracks for a while, then it just ended, like the thing vanished. Now I'm starting to think this thing ain't dumb. Maybe it wanted us to follow to see how many of us there were. We decided to get back to the compound before dark.
And there we have our first mention of a woman among the Sons of Dane. Would have been kinda difficult to restart civilization without at least one, but let's get back to Dane.
Night Stalker and goodbye Angie. So Angie's jamming on her guitar around midnight when our hunter busted in. She cracked it over the head with her 6-string, but it just got pissed. It tore her chest open in one clean swipe like gutting a deer. We opened fire, but just like before, it was gone and so was poor Angie. The thing keeps hitting us after dark and the Sons are now calling it the Night Stalker. Whatever it is, we need to kill it before we all end up as its food. Calling all hunters. Jackson, Vern, Angie, and now Clem and Beeks. The Night Stalker decided to take 2 more Sons from the beer hall tonight. There's only a handful of us left and I don't know how to stop it. If we don't do something fast, the Sons of Dane are going to be worm food. I'm going to set up a message and broadcast it for help. We need a serious hunter to take down the Night Stalker, and we need one fast.
The final entry in Dane's terminal is a remote door control. This remote door control opens the secured door down to the armory in the basement, which you can also pick the lock on like we did when we first got here. What seems to be pretty clear here is that the Sons of Dane were a pre-war separatist group that built a compound on land that was presumably donated by a sympathetic Appalachian citizen, at least according to Clem. At some point after building the place up before the war, they must have sought shelter in an underground bunker or a series of bunkers. There's no bunker on the compound itself, so I presume it was somewhere relatively close by, or perhaps one of a few different abandoned bunkers in the Meyer region that don't have any definitive lore connecting them to a specific owner. It seems that not long after the war, the Sons of Dane returned to their compound where they expected to live the high life, drinking, hunting, and living free of any outside interference. Unfortunately for them, the Night Stalker had other plans and picked them off one by one over a period of months. As their numbers dwindled, Dane Rogers put his radio distress call on repeat. Sadly for him, help came far too late. But this house isn't the only place we can get some history on the compound. We can start by just looking around the Buck's Den beer hall. We can see that they had it well stocked, lots of drinks, lots of booze, lots of musical instruments. They clearly planned for this to be a place that they would hang out. This was going to be their central hangout for their group after the world ended, where they could just do whatever they wanted. If we look around upstairs, we can see another petrified corpse, and we see some rafters where, this was probably just part of the building at one time, part of a barn. And we see here a target with a panda on it and another ghoul we need to clear out. You've got to watch out for ghouls when you're exploring here. But this just looks like a little more of a private place to hang out and apparently throw knives at imported Chinese pandas. It's pretty clear that the Sons of Dane thought that the apocalypse would bring about nothing but fun. This was not going to be all about hard work and rebuilding society. This was going to be about getting drunk, hunting, and doing whatever the hell they pleased. We also see a variety of trailers around the area here, and we can explore some of them to see what was going on there. In this one on the south side of the compound, there isn't a whole lot going on. We do find some ghouls inside. We find some loot strewn about, but mostly the place is just trashed.
And we can see that maybe they were up to something in the shower, but, it's kind of hard to say what was going on there. But really, we just see a mattress, we see some junk laying around. Nothing too terribly interesting here. Searching the next trailer over, we can find a wood pile under the stairs. And here we see a brewing station, another dead ghoul, and we have a terminal we can read. Before we check it out, let's just take a quick look around here. Is there anything else interesting besides some junk? Not really. A brewing station's kind of interesting, a chem station, but that all makes sense for the type of group that the Sons of Dane were. They definitely had their priorities, and booze and chems were certainly high among them. Going back to read the terminal, we see that it belonged to Paulie Keith, who we heard referred to in the initial radio message and in Dane Rogers' terminal. He's got a series of entries here, ranging in dates from just before to just after the Great War. The first entry reads as follows.
This homestead sure is one hell of a find. Isolated, defensible, and abandoned. All we had to do was march in and grab the place. It's as if someone left us a gift. Dane said we should move in right away. By the time the authorities figure out what we've done, we'll be dug in and ready for action. We took a vote and we all agreed this is where the Sons of Dane are planting their flag.
Well, so much for the compound land being donated. They clearly took it from someone. Whether they did that by force or not isn't entirely clear. Maybe it was already abandoned. The next entry is from October 15th, 2077.
We've set up hunting parties to bring food into the compound. The Sons of Dane do not shop at the grocery store. Our goal is establishing a 100% self-sufficient community. There's fresh water nearby and the woods are fully stocked with game. When the storm comes and society collapses, we will be ready. October 20th, 2077. Dane said that we should turn the old barn into a beer hall. We usually like to get rowdy outside by a bonfire, but we decided to keep things low-key. Bringing the party indoors will make drinking safer, plus give us a place to store the beer we've been hauling. This place is getting better by the day.
These entries largely confirm what we already learned, but also raise some questions about the Sons of Dane. Were they really some serious separatist organization? Or were they just a bunch of good old boys looking for a place to get drunk and make trouble? Were they just playing it, planning for the apocalypse, not really expecting one to actually happen? Let's read Paulie's entry from the day the bombs fell.
Them bombs fell today. Society as we know it is done. Even after all the explosions and the shaking ground, our compound is safe. Dane, after all his prophesizing and his speeches, kept his word. He's delivered us from destruction. We've decided to lay low a few days and let the chaos die down before we explore our new world. Glad we stockpiled those hazmat suits. October 30th, 2077. It hasn't taken us long to discover that living in this new world isn't going to be simple. The game we were dependent on for food is gone. The fresh water tainted with radioactive poison. If we want to survive, our kind needs to adapt. Dane's ordered us to pair up and find supplies, taking them using any means necessary to get what's ours. Now, the fighting really begins.
This is interesting because these entries don't entirely match up with the ones from Dane Rogers' terminal, or at least from our assumptions from reading his terminal. Based on this, it doesn't seem that the Sons of Dane were in a bunker at all. If they were, it was only for about a week. Dane didn't include dates in his terminal, so perhaps this is a case of an unreliable narrator, one who wants things to appear more organized than they were, or to paint himself as a greater savior than he actually was, or who perhaps just created those entries after the fact and didn't have a clear memory. Or maybe it's just a lore inconsistency. For the sake of interesting storytelling, I'm going to assume that Dane Rogers was a less than reliable narrator. We also learned from these entries, especially the last one, that these guys weren't here to dance around a campfire singing about peace and love. They had every intention of taking what they wanted from anyone they wanted to take it from. It sounds like they were likely Appalachia's first raider group.
We explore, we find a note addressed to Carl.
You know anything about why the barrel of whiskey I paid you for tastes like piss? You get a little too drunk and mistake the still for the outhouse again? Probably because you wouldn't know good hooch if it bit you in the behind, you old fool. So again, more evidence that the Sons of Dane were more interested in getting drunk and fooling around than organizing or fighting for some kind of cause. And that note pretty much does it for lore on the Sons of Dane compound. Interestingly though, if we head north to the crater, we do find mention of them in Wren's terminal. The Sons of Dane compound is listed as one of several potential raid locations. When we look at the details, it says recon was done by Aldridge, risk medium, reward guns and ammo. Aldridge said this place could still be worth looting. Meg mentioned it was an old Free States paramilitary compound that the cutthroats never went after. Wonder why? Setting risk at medium until I can get more info. Now, hold on just a minute. Meg says they were a Free States paramilitary group? From everything we saw at the Sons of Dane compound, nothing indicated that at all. The way Dane Rogers wrote in his terminal, it sounded like they may have had a similar mindset, but there were no Free States logos or other imagery anywhere. Paulie's terminal made them sound like a raider group, which is nothing like what we know of the Free States. Sure, they were rebels and separatists, but they weren't out taking things from other people. I think that it's probably smart not to take Meg literally here. In all likelihood, she simply didn't know much about the Sons of Dane in the first place. It would be easy for an outsider to assume that a bunch of survivalists on a well-guarded compound might be affiliated with a group like the Free States, especially if her pre-war understanding of them fell in line with the government propaganda of the time. Maybe the Sons of Dane even shared some beliefs with the Free States, but that doesn't mean they were a part of that same group. Putting all of this information together, I'm even more convinced that Dane Rogers was an unreliable narrator, likely purposefully so. He started this group and named it after himself, obviously a narcissist. He clearly wanted to think of them as part of some greater cause, but it's obvious from what the other members of the group left behind that they just weren't. They were just a bunch of guys and at least one girl who used survivalism and anti-government sentiment as an excuse to head out to the middle of nowhere, get drunk, party, and eventually rough people up to take what they wanted after the world went to hell. At this point, I don't think they even went to an actual bunker after the bombs fell. I'm betting they just hung out in Dane's basement for a week and came out once they couldn't stand the smell of each other anymore. In short, I'm pretty sure that the Sons of Dane weren't much more than a bunch of drunken idiots, which kind of explains why they kept hanging out in a beer hall where their members got eaten by a monster on a fairly regular basis instead of kicking rocks down the road to any number of other abandoned properties in Appalachia. With all that said, they're an interesting bunch of drunken idiots. There's another intriguing bit of trivia associated with the Sons of Dane. The Buck's Den Beer Hall, the Night Stalker, and the One Violent Night event all refer to the famous epic poem Beowulf. In that story, Beowulf comes to the aid of the King of the Danes. His great hall is being attacked by a monster called Grendel, which is killing and eating his soldiers. In the story, the hero kills Grendel with his bare hands, hence the optional challenge to kill the Night Stalker barehanded. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I've got on the Sons of Dane, a group of people who drank a lot, made very poor decisions, and gave us one of the more fun public events in Fallout 76. Remember, if you enjoyed this and want to see more, do go ahead and subscribe to the channel, leave a like or a comment, or follow me on Twitter. There's always a lot more to come, and I hope I see you all next time.